Welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast, where we discuss and analyze your favorite marble sports. From JMR Marble League to I'll Go Do tournaments, we'll make sure you never miss the action. All marble sports, all the time, right here on the MSW Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to, what are we welcoming you to? Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast. My name is still Brendan.
And I'm Commander Wolf.
Still.
And I'm the co-host of the show. I don't normally say this. I'm just trying to follow up with your weird thing, Brendan.
Well, I mean, dude, I just kind of come up. I didn't even know what I was going to do. I just started making noises until I said the intro. That's kind of how I did it. This intro, I have some announcements to make this intro. I have one announcement to make. So if you're looking at the Chrome, you see in front of you this channel called We Raced Diecast. They're a new channel, about 5,000 subscribers. They've been doing good at taking off and getting some attention. They're pretty big on TikTok for marble stuff. They're decent on Instagram for more racing stuff. So I just saw them and I was like, oh wow, another channel that doesn't have commentary, and it said something to them. And that it was just, their timing was unbelievable, because he was like, oh dude, just happen to be that I'm going to be starting a marble sports channel on YouTube very soon. And so I actually am looking for a commentator for that. He's not looking for one for the diecast because he has someone else in mind. Aww. But he offered that to me. And then at first I was actually kind of like, maybe not, because he's just getting started. So it's not like the other channels I've worked for where they're established and they're going to pay a lot. Truthfully, he's not really going to pay for a while until ad revenue gets going. So I was going to be like, maybe this is not worth it. It's not worth my time. But I talked to him and I was about to be like, well, maybe I'll hit you back when you grow. But he laid out very specifically his plan and what he means to do and the passion he has for it all. And I was like, you know what? This guy seems like he really has the drive to make this happen. And if he goes with someone else, then I might miss out on something amazing, because he really seems to be ready to put a lot of work in. So I was like, you know what? This is what I'll do for you. I'll give it some time. I'll come on. I know I'm not going to get much out of it for a little while, but, I'll give it some time, see where it goes. So I will be commentating for We Race Marbles as they get going here. I don't know when they're going to be first video or anything. It might be some time. It might be short term. I don't know. So I'll keep you updated. But I'm not going to be doing anything for We Race Diecast currently. Who knows? Maybe the other guy won't work out and he'll be like, oh, I want you, whatever. You never know. But for now, go follow the channel We Race Diecast. They're pretty good. The races are cool, and support the We Race Marbles channel. It seems like he does have aspirations to do circuit racing, aspirations to do tournament style racing with recurring teams and lore. He said that is his plan to eventually get there. And marble sports fans like yourselves who continue to listen to this show every week, 127 episodes later, I ask that you go at least drop a sub on the We Race Marbles channel. You can find it from his community post that's, up in front of We Race Diecast, just to give him a little boost as he begins to work from the ground up here. And truthfully, I think we're all looking for some new marble content. We got RML out there, which is going well. JMR is always solid, but it's always good to see what other people have to come up with. And truthfully, JMR's views have been going down, so I don't know what's going on. But go support, and who knows? Maybe it will. Maybe he'll bring something to the table you never thought. And I'm always, of course, passionate and excited to be doing some more broadcasting for marble-related matters. So that's exciting. I'm excited for this. So again, drop us up. Waff, what do you got?
I'm just like, I'm entering my last 2 weeks of my bachelor's degree, so I'm gonna have my project done soon. I can't really. I don't know if I want to say this just because I think it might technically dox me, so I won't say. But like, basically, my big project is actually gonna be open to the public finally to actually be viewed on the 13th of May.
How exciting!
So, if by chance you somehow know where I'm at somehow, and as I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it at some point somewhere in a way past episode, that like from 3:30 to 5 p.m. at this place, you can come see it. I don't know if I want to say just because that just tells people where I live, and that's kind of not a good idea. So, but you know, if you know, then you can come see me in person or whatever, or see what I made.
Some of the live chat might know. Go rewatch live chat if it's important to you. Wonderful, dude. I'm excited for you, man. Maybe if I have some time, I'll try to drop by and take a watch with you. At some point, though, I'll catch it. Another thing I want to mention while we're here in the intro, and that I just feel like I want to mention now, I just have it on my mind and I want to put it out there, is Austin Cooper.
What the hell are
live chat? Is that someone you might know, Mr. Waff? Is that someone that you might be acquainted with, sir? By the way, you are giggling.
I might know him a little bit.
Little bit of a relationship
just a
there.
little bit.
All right. Hey, yo. Well, good to see you. You're along for this ride, I guess. I don't know if you've ever dropped by before, but thank you for coming. If you don't know, my co-host's name is Mr. Waff. He doesn't like how I pronounce it, but that's how I do it. And he's a nerd. He's a nerd about marbles.
Trust me, I think he knows a bit more than you give him credit for.
I'm sure he knows a ton. All right. Something I want to get off my head while we're in the intro, though. As I watched Orlando Raceway, or whatever you want to call it, I don't care. You call it whatever you want. Raceway. Wonderful name. As I watched that, and it was a good race. It was a good battle between 3-4 marbles up there at the top, which was wonderful. But I realized one thing that really struck me, because I was finding myself watching and enjoying it because I like JMR and the production. But I was like this race for some reason just is not as exciting as I thought it might be. I was like, this is a raceway. This is Red Eye up there. This is Cobalt's in there. What is going on? And I realized that there is a stark difference in the excitement of races, at least for me, between JMR and now RML, Racing Marble League, if you forget. And I was like, why does it seem like those races seem to go back and forth more, be a lot more exciting? And it really is very simply because of the extra, and there's small things, but the extra features RML goes the extra effort to put in their track has made those races overall and objectively, truthfully, I know it's just my opinion, but truthfully, there's objective differences in the excitement of the leadership of races on RML. You'll see a lot more changes within the top 3, just by number. A lot more changes in the top 3 and the top 5, especially because of the way RML has crafted their tracks. Muller Corner is a big one. That separates inside and out. That actually, let me say this again, they actually separates inside and outside lines, which is really nice because one thing that JMR loves to talk about from Greg Wood's perspective, but really has no basis most of the time, is inside-outside lines. Oh my God, he's diving to the outside. Oh my God, he's coming on the inside in the turn. But no, not as much because there's no true separation often between the inside and outside lines. So I think the Muller Corner is a big deal. Of course, Racing Marble League also goes a little bit more overt with some of the other features. So there is that as well. But that made a difference. And I was like, what? Why does it seem that the same 2 marbles have been at the top the whole time? But like when you watch RML, it's like, with the top 3, not really necessarily always the top 1, you have a lot of lead changes. But even in the top 1, you got a lot. Last RML race with Crimson Lady and Sinatra, you had a lot of changes. And that's because of the Muller Corner, because of that marble booster, because of that spread 4-lane highway. We forget that. And I'm like, why does JMR not do that? Why? It would really
they technically do that. They did that with the season 2 of the O race, with their giant sand section. The 10 I think was 4 lanes wide.
Yeah, they did spread it out. They didn't spread it out this time. It was more very wavy, which really hurt marbles. But I don't know. Those are things that do make a difference because it does make for more lead changes. And the one thing that stands out about that specific way of allowing for, as opposed to just throwing a funnel or a plinko board in the course, is that it's not forcing lead changes. It's not forcing in lead changes where your brain is like, oh yeah, well that's just a mess because it's a plinko board. Right? They're actually just adjusting the course a little bit so that it still is within roleplay, I guess, the marbles choices that cause the changes in leads. Sure. It's just more deliberate. Right, Muller corner. It's still the marble's choice whether it be on the outside or the inside when approaching that Muller corner. But the Muller corner locks you into a line, which really causes a lot of changes in leads and speed. So that is worth pointing out. That has been on my mind. I wish JMR would do things like that, but they're very... The one thing I always say about JMR, and I believe this, I love them and they're creative people, but they're locked into their own world. If I were a channel like JMR, I would look at the other channels who are way below me, especially the ones who are higher quality, and be like, what are they doing? You might not take from everything you see. Most things from you see, you might not take at all. But if I were JMR and I went to RML and I saw those Muller corners, which are I think those are the best thing ever created in marble sports racing.
They are awesome.
They're so simple and so effective. I'd be like, boom, let's do that. Let's put that in our races, because now we just took a race that already is exciting, that people already go nuts over, and we just added about 10 lead changes. 10! Probably.
Yeah. And I think this is the discussion. Should we have gone to the news already?
No, I just wanted to point that out in the intro. You can talk about the news.
Okay.
I told you, this was an intro.
This feels like a discussion section, not really an intro kind of.
I wanted to get that off my head before we get more in, because we're going to talk mostly about JMR and the race. But.
Okay, well, I guess I'll say, the Muller corner is awesome. I keep forgetting, I keep looking at, why is it called the Muller corner? And I remember, it was named after the person who...
Yeah, the guy's last name is Muller.
Which was, something that was actually invented for...
Zach Muller? I don't know.
Excuse me, RML, which is really cool. But yeah, I think if the track pieces are still for sale right now, which I think they are, yeah, I would say JMR should. I know Stint, I think I heard him talking about it, I believe on Let It Roll's podcast. He talks to Yella, and every now and again Yella's mentioned he is interested in he's in those tracks. So hopefully he does buy them and uses them, because they are really great and they do add some dynamics, which would help to spice up the races. Because one of the biggest complaints I've heard when I was on Let It Roll. Was how the battle at the top, at least this season, while it's not just Red Eye dominating all the time, it's always usually 1 or 2 marbles that are always dominating that specific race. So there's no real battle.
Right, and the battle between the two is always fun, and it keeps entertainment. But, let's think about RML first. We're going to have a long intro. Who cares? It was episode 127. If you're still watching, you're not going to get too mad at the long intro at this point. Okay. There was, in last RML race... Sinatra came from very far down in the pack to win that race because of features like the Muller corner and that 4-lane highway. Okay? And you don't see that. You do not see that. Sorry, I hit my mic. No, but over time, think about all the places he had to make up because of those features, all the passes he was able to make because of the Muller corner and the highway. And whatever other features he put, I forget what course it was. But you don't see that in JMR. If someone does not qualify or get lucky in the starting gate where they jump from 20th to 1st because of the starting gate kerfuffles, good word there, then they're locked in the back. They might get up to mid-pack by a bunch of slow and steady passing, but there is no way to have a little faster lead changes or more dynamic lead changes. It just doesn't happen. It does not happen in JMR. Watch races. Especially when you get to the back half of the race where marbles are more spread out.
Sure, yeah. Although it is fair to mention that it's because you commentate for them, you're definitely biased.
Well, no, I'm definitely biased, but I'm saying that it's like I'm pointing. That's why I want to start with some facts. Like objectively, there are just more changes in the top 3, just more changes in the lead of those races. So even though my opinion is going to always skew to really enjoy racing Marble League because I work with them, objectively there are just way more numbers wise. There are more marbles who get a look at the top 3, more varied marbles, and then there's more changes. So it's just a true thing. One thing I will say, just to touch on one thing before we get to the news, if they do ever buy from racing marble leagues like Muller Corners and stuff, first of all, I'll be really excited. All right, I'd be really excited about that, but they had better shout out that channel. They had better, and I'm gonna tell Bill. I'm actually trying to make a mental note here and tell him. I'll let him know that JMR's thinking about it for whatever future. I don't know how far future, but some future. To not give it to them unless they agree to the shout out. I only say that because it would be in bad taste to buy the Muller Corner off Racing Marble League and then put it on your channel and be like, look at this amazing new feature in Marbula 1, Muller Corner, Highway, or whatever, if they buy other things. And then not even give any credit to Bill. I realize that he sells it as like a part of his store, so it technically is no obligation to that. But I will be upset at JMR if they do that and then they completely ignore a shout out for that channel, because that channel like deserves the shout out for those features. So
yeah, definitely.
I will tell Bill to at least be wary of that. He can't say, "Oh, you have to," because he sells it as a store in public domain. I just realized this, correcting myself there. But I would say at least be wary, at least try to make a little bit of a deal out of it, because it would just be awful if they didn't. And they would be way more likely to if Bill says something than if they just leave it quiet. Because I feel like if it was just left quiet, then JMR would probably escape with that. So I don't know. Just putting it out there. Let's go to the news. That's enough of all that, and we'll see you on the other side.
Hello, Marble Sports fans! I'm Commander Wolf, here with the Marble Sports Worldwide News. We've actually got quite a bit to go over, so let's get right into it. Race 4 of Marbula 1 Season 3, the O Raceway, was quite possibly the most intense racing we've seen in M1 history. Several marbles were in contention for the lead throughout the race, and the racers were even almost 4 marbles wide on lap 9. The battle was close, but in the end, Bon Bon came in first, followed by Red Eye in a close second, and Glimmer in third. And now for a very interesting competition, we have the Hisense Marble World Cup, a collaboration between JMR and Hisense. In this competition, marbles from all over the world competed in a sort of friendly round to predict who would move on to the knockout round. The track was quite interesting, featuring a large bank turn, helices, and even a soccer goal. It's interesting to see this type of competition, and I'm quite curious to see what they'll do with it next. And now on to RML Season 3. First we have Race 2, the Tangle 10 Raceway, named after the 10 turns all throughout the track. This race also featured an escalator over the traditional marble launcher, resulting in some very different marbles taking the lead this time around. The race started out grim for Octane as they stalled out right at the beginning of the race, ruining any chance for a victory. On the other end of the spectrum was Serpent Smart, who set a record by lapping 6 other marbles, which practically guaranteed their victory on the track. Not too far behind was Victoria's Secret in second and Wild Canuck in third. And finally we have Race 3 of RML Season 3, the return of the Beaverton Corners course. This race was truly wild, as several marbles would end up being in contention for the first place spot over the course of the entire race. It was very unpredictable, but by the end, Victoria's Secret came in first as a repeat champion from last season. Followed close behind was T-Bot in second, and Goat in a very surprising third place. The season is halfway over, and we have a rookie in the lead right now, but only by 1 point, and not too far behind is Crimson Lady, our undefeated champion. There's still plenty of time for things to get shaken up, and for Swirly's dreams of being the rookie champion to go down in the drain, so they better not let up just yet. That's all the news I got for you. Thanks for listening. I'm Commander Wolf. You are the best fans in the world. Let's kick it on back with the podcast.
All right, guys, we are back from the news. Thank you, Waff, for I don't know what to say. You're doing the news, so we appreciate it. We are back, and we have a couple things to get through before we get into the weeds of this Marbula 1 race. I want to address a couple things said in the chat, very on topic from what the intro was talking about. So, and then we'll talk some emails, and then we'll finish out with Marbula 1 related things. I want to address another live chat thing that just popped up saying ML 2021 Savage Speeder's performance is a fluke. I would disagree with this. I would agree that they're not doing good right now. But remember, they got second place last year. And they only lost to a team that literally never lost. So, I mean,
how is it a fluke when they have consistently been in the top 5 every year?
Yeah. I will say they're doing crappy this year. But you got to be careful saying things like this, I think. And
it's
also,
Savage Speeders, people.
Yeah, we're talking
it's
team.
It's like saying Usain Bolt was a fluke because he didn't do so well one time.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I actually don't know if... I feel like he always does well.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know enough about Prince to know if he's ever actually done bad or not.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Marbula 1. Sorry, man. Yeah, he said the 12th place was a fluke.
Oh,
he's talking about Marbula.
Okay, yeah,
that came out of nowhere.
ML,
Marbula
M1,
1's on the mind.
those are...
yeah,
it's an easy thing to get mixed up, but like those are important distinctions.
I figured the L was a 1 because I had Marbula 1 on the mind. I was like, why would he talk about Marbula League right now? This summer. Remind me of that later when we have Marble League on the mind, because maybe we can talk about this, but I don't know.
If we are talking about Marble League here, what? I like... Wait, they got... What place did they get in 2021? It was second, right?
What?
Like, what place did the Savage Speeders get in 2021? I forget.
2021? So that would be this recent season, right?
Yeah, the last Marble League.
They didn't do well, right? No, yes, but we talked about this. They got 12th, but all the points between 12th and first were so close. We said that we have to be careful to cast negative light on that particular 12th because of how close it still was to the top 3.
Right.
I will say that was their first not top 5 performance, which kind of sucks.
I completely forgot about that, but yeah, that's true. But yeah, like they were so close that there was basically no difference between 12th and like first, which is wild to say, but that's how
true.
Look
at the numbers. The numbers are what they are. We'll talk about this some other time though. Okay, so one thing. So this was said. This was said by some live chat people. So, Trivia Yak is one of the live chat people. He says, in my opinion, the Muller corners are neat and stuff, but I feel it becomes less skill-based. Like, winning a race can be more about getting the right line as opposed to weaving around and passing other marbles. My response to that is that I feel... Listen, I understand the initial desire to always stick to what was first and what is simplest. Obviously, the simplest way to race marbles is to put them on the plainest track you can think of, barely have any turns, and be like, marbles gotta just figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right? But I would argue that Listen, of course, like, actual racing doesn't have Muller corners, but marbles have a different kind of... We have to always be aware of the fact that marbles aren't real. They are just objects that follow gravity.
They are real. They're just not alive.
They're not animate. They can't take inside lines if they want to, right?
Wait,
they can't.
Are marbles just a figment of our imagination?
Dude, I feel like the limers are. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the Savage Speeders winning is a figment of my imagination at this point. No, but they're not, they can't do that. They're not animate. So we have to be careful when we talk about things like Muller corners, which are very subtle in the way they affect the race, being necessarily taking the skill-based part of it away, because it's like, what's the skill-based part? How can you make an argument less skill-based when you're talking about something which is outside of roleplay 100% luck-based to begin with?
Well, I mean, it's not 100% luck based. There are clearly some things that make certain marbles better than others.
Right, but it's not based on their own inherent animate skill. And so what I'm saying to you is that the mullet corners adds to the charade.
Right.
I don't want to call it that because I like to be in the role play, but the charade that they are real athletes making real decisions. Mullet corners is not like a Plinko board where it's always a 50-50. It really makes for an understanding that marbles are choosing different lines. And not always, this is true, not always does the outside line happen to be the slowest and most negating line. There's a lot of times, because I do commentary for the channel, where I've seen passes on the outside line over the inside and vice versa. Choosing lines and the speed you have into them is part of the skill and adds to that excitement because it changes the lead. It causes a lot more lead changes, and it's not very constant. It's not always inside line wins. It's not, and so I think it's a smart change because it adds to the ability to really make a dynamic race where it's not just the first two marbles to separate from the pack are going to battle it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
I will say though, so one thing that does not work well is their conveyor belt. Like, I like that it's faster because it does not kill momentum as much, but the problem is that if a marble misses the getting on point, they get thrown back way harder, and end up getting juggled way worse than the conveyor belt on JMR. So a marble can lose a lead, not because they are not skilled, but because a track piece is just inadequate. And I know that you said that like the reason why that was chosen was because the fans asked for it. The fans are wrong here. The conveyor belt is not better than Marble Booster, not by a country mile.
Marble
The
Booster
Booster is so much better.
Especially since they took down the speed of it. So I don't know. I think he just wants to keep things different. Like, whoa, this track is very different than the previous one because not only does it have different muller corners, but it has this new feature. Also, it's an elevator this time. Also, we have this wooden section, right? He's just trying to vary it a lot because it does make a track more memorable when there's big differences. But
right,
yeah,
but
I would agree he needs to refine this more.
Right, but I think like the changes, like that wooden bridge, those are way better than changing the entire launching mechanism, or I guess the lap mechanism. I guess that's the way. And there's probably a word for it that I'm forgetting, but like I think because like changing that affects the entire efficiency of the race and changes it from being like, oh, a marble just had it back. The only times I've ever seen someone get screwed over by the launcher was they got stuck because I think it threw them too hard, but they reduced the speed, so that shouldn't happen anymore. So it's significantly less prone to error, and it also doesn't ruin momentum. It is just objectively the best way. I feel like changing things up for variety, yes, that's a great thing, but the launcher is the one thing you should not change.
I would lean more towards agreeing with this. Edu also has a couple of nice things to say. He does point out that RML should be more focused on the battles in the top 5 and 3 when there's a breakaway winner. This is true, but then again, that's more of a camera work thing, and the fact he's still learning. But that's fair. I mean, what can you do? You can't look at all the marbles at once. But fair enough. That's fair. I think that's a fair criticism. Cosmo in lap 1 of the last race, so meaning the O Raceway, took the wrong line, went for the outside, and lost a ton of positions, and then they switched to damage control mode about that. I don't know what you're meaning by this, but I take it to mean that you're realizing that losing a line or falling behind in JMR really means you're done. There is no Muller corners that you can take some right lines on and get back to the top. There's not much of that. All right, and they don't allow for that. They don't cause. Why did you just get like much quieter? You're like much quieter for some reason. It's weird.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to turn my knob back up. Oopsies.
Weird.
Wait, yeah, but it's my bad. I took a drink of water. I turned my gain down so you don't hear me
First thing
slurping.
for the Chrome. Look at this. We're getting a look at this purple line.
Crap. Purple line.
Ooh, purple. I want to open this in Chrome. There. Okay. So this is Cosmo. I'm assuming Cosmo is that line that drops immediately down to like 19th. And you see what happens when it does this. So we're starting in 3rd place. We come out the gate. And this is after lap 1, so not a gate problem. Drops because of a bad decision down to 19th, which can happen. It happens a lot. And then look at this. Climbs and gets back up to about 10th.
Yeah.
But really, like, there is no top 5 when you make this mistake. It just, there's no possibility in JMR for that. Because they don't have enough in the track subtly allowing marbles to have what I call small victories. Okay? Small victories. Which are victories that are lap to lap. Oh, I passed a couple marbles in this lap. That's a small victory. And if you add small victories over the courses of many laps, you go from 18th up to 5th. But you can't do that in JMR. I mean, look at these lines. Look at how consistent most of them are, especially when you take Cosmo out of the equation. Look at starting, and you have to look past lap 1, because lap 1 is where things go crazy because the marbles are packed. But then look at them. Like, for example, Bumblebee, in 7th place. After lap 1 and they're stratified, they bounced between about 9th and 5th the rest of the time. Let's look at another one that moved around a lot. So started in 9th there. Which marble is this? Wispy, whichever one. I mean, bounced between 9th and 15th the whole race, and then dropped down to 15th at the end. I mean, I'm picking random marbles here. Who is this one here? This one is Mimo. After that lap 1 where he got to his kind of set place, bounced between the same 4 places and ended up in 5th. It's really a 4-place bounce for the most part, or just a straight down like Primary, who went from 10th all the way down to 20th by the end of the race. There is not much climbing. Sometimes you'll see climbing because marbles are slow in the back, so you'll see climbing from 19th to 10th, like in Cosmo's case. But really, really rarely do you see climbing, especially after markers from lap 1. You have to start after lap 1, because that's when marbles start to stratify, where you climb from anywhere below 12th to anywhere near the top. It's rare. It does happen. I've seen it. There's certain track features in JMR that allow for this, but it's very rare. So I would say that because of that, if you take the Muller corner, listen, you talk about the Muller corner from RML, you're not necessarily, I'm not making the case that what happens when you add the Muller corner, you add the 4-lane highway, as now all marbles from the 20th place are doing it. Most marbles aren't moving any more than they do in JMR, but there are a few that build up with small victories. I want to come up with a better term than small victories, so I'll think of one hopefully soon. But small victories, lap to lap small victories, and they pay off because there's features that allow them to pay off, which is why I favor RML circuit racing, because it's important to reward marbles for small victories so you can really have comebacks. So you can have Sinatra coming from the middle of pack. I mean, by lap 10, past halfway through the race, it is unheard of that any marble from the middle of the pack past halfway point through JMR is going to ever see the top 3, and Sinatra won that race. Coming in like the last 4 laps. It's a point. It's a point to be taken. And listen, I do like the purist way that JMR keeps with things, and I like the races. They're exciting. I'm pointing that out, though, that those little things do make a difference. Especially the Muller corner, which, I don't know, that's marble feature of the year for me. But... I mean,
yeah.
Well, Trivia Yak, RML uses 21 marbles, so I would say that, again, those features make a big difference. Though I will say adding more marbles always makes it harder to shift through the pack, because you have a lot more marbles, bouncing around in the back. So that's fair. Well...
Yeah, I was saying like your Sinatra point also holds more weight because in that race they used the booster still. So like it wasn't like an instance of the elevator screwing over the lead marbles to give him that chance. They just got there by skill. And like on roleplay, I don't know how the heck they got more of a boost. But there was 2 marbles who got, I think it was Onyx or Polyonyx that got that and Sinatra that both had an extra speed coming out of the booster. So maybe they both got like pushed together on top of each other or something, so they got more attention and they flew up faster. I don't know, but like that, it does. That was one of my favorite moments because like I was an early Sinatra fan, and like seeing a marble that was in the back fight their way up I've never seen that. It's so great. I love that.
I think it's kind of like, this is my initial rudimentary understanding of what's going on inside the booster. I'm going to use an analogy that we can all understand. So if you, JMR's a lot of good examples of this. So I'm hoping you guys, as consistent Marble fans who continue to listen to the show, might be able to understand this with me. So there's a lot of hairpins in JMR races. There's a lot of hairpin turns, and you would agree, right? Well, about 180-degree hairpin turns. Now, because you watch JMR, that if you let's say you're approaching a hairpin turn, you're going straight, and you're on the inside line. Then when you come into the turn, you're going to go straight, you're going to hit the curved part of the hairpin turn, kind of bounce back and forth, sometimes hit that inside line, and then you're going to bounce out on the other side, right? You're going to kind of, you're not going to come smoothly and quick through that, because you're starting on the inside, and, then you're going to go, you know what I'm saying? You're going to hit that outside rail, then you come back inside, or you just kind of stick to the outside, but you're not as fast because you hit the rail on the weird angle, because you started on the inside. If you come to a hairpin turn in JMR's case and you start on the outside, by the way, JMR, please do banked turns. Please, please, please. That's another little, that's a feature I didn't even bring up. Another little thing RML does, let's say you hate the Muller corner, you cannot make a case against the fact that RML consistently puts many, many small banked turns. Even if it's a small bank, that makes a huge difference in the race. Another reason why you see marbles stay a lot more off the walls. Just saying. I'm a big fan of those features.
Yeah.
But you come in a JMR turn, if you come into a JMR hairpin, we'll call it, on the outside line, then you're going to whip through that outside line because you hug that wall. You hug the wall, and you don't knock into anything at a weird angle.
Right.
So you come out super fast because you have that centripetal force, or whatever you want to call it, that you just ride that rail, and there's no kind of negative collision, we'll call it, where you're kind of colliding against something that's kind of going to stop your momentum, I guess. So that's how I see the marble booster sometimes. The marble booster, what happens is at the bottom of the marble booster, there's like a roller, kind of like, how do I say this? Like, kind of imagine like one of the paint roller, but it's spinning really fast and it's stationary. Right. And so when the marbles hit it, they get rolled fast up this booster and this little tube, you could call it. Now, because they're getting rolled up really fast and vertically, all marbles are going to react differently based on how they're spinning and how they're rolling into that booster. Okay? So some marbles might roll into that booster and then hug that top wall. So when they curve back forward after the vertical section, they're gonna hug the kind of the curved part, and they're gonna fly out of there. Some of them might rattle around in there, like Plinko, or some marbles might kind of lose speed and barely get out because they kind of drop to the lower part of the tube. So that would affect how fast they come out of the tube, which is why you see marbles come out at different speeds from the marble booster. And you can really see it with the new changes RML made, where they slowed it down a little bit. So it's not just all super fast. But that, I don't know if you guys found that interesting, but I think it's important to try to keep realization with that. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we should definitely get to the race and talk about the biggest thing about this is at one point it was almost 4 marbles side by side,
which was fun.
That is insane.
While we're talking race, I'm gonna throw it up here on the YouTube.
And it's rookies. It was mostly rookies too, wasn't it not?
Yeah, Red Eye was in there, but other than him, I think it was Cobalt's. Chocolatiers is not a rookie. They just suck, okay? It's just surprising to see them up there.
Chocolatiers have been in an M1 race before? Am I forgetting something?
I mean, it's been 2 seasons. They haven't been in any of the last 2 seasons. I mean, I don't really pay attention to them, so I wouldn't...
I can't remember how... Wait... This is yes, thank you, Kaysen. Wait, sorry, S-Man. Dang it, these names that you do, Brendan, is just confusing.
I called Kaysen in the Discord. I called S-Man Kaysen in the Discord.
But S-Man is right. This is the Chocolatiers' first season. So
I guess in this case, they're rookies. But they've been around a long time. They've been racing a long time. So
sure, but we know that M1 and ML don't translate.
That's fair.
And there's Glimmer too. I'm pretty sure this is the Shining Swarm's first year.
Season, so I'm pretty sure, right? We're right about that, right? Shining Swarm haven't been around before. I don't remember them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Which I don't know, goes to show me that I don't know how to interpret this season, because there's really a lack of consistency from all the teams you'd expect to be up there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like, I mean, we had like you said, 3 rookies kind of dominating the field. I mean, where? How is this happening, right? I mean, I guess they are rookies, so they're marbles that have never raced before, so they're new,
True.
so I guess that's fair. So they could have had the speed all the time, and they just never got the chance. But really odd to see that. And Red Eye struggled. Red Eye truthfully struggled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
But they're also, on the other hand, so far, because we have 4 races now, there's a lack of consistency from the rookies. So it's not like the domination of last season with the Crazy Cat's Eyes in their rookie year came out and just kept not losing. They just kept not doing that. So they was very clear that they know what they were doing. But, Bon Bon is not going to probably win another race for the rest of the season. And the Chocolatiers are not your top 3 contender in overall right now. So I don't know. I find it weird that all of a sudden just the rookies, found a place to stay up there for a while. It was very unexpected. I think I don't know what to think. Waff, anything? Because it really is not. Usually I come out here because most of the time and I'm like, all right, well, rookie had their moment, but Savage Speeders are still in there. Crazy Cat's Eye still in there. I mean, we know where we're at. We know who's going to be a competitor real time here in the end, but not so this season.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. So I can't remember how well the Crazy Cat's Eye did at Tumult Turnpike. I think they did roughly around the same they did before there. But I know at Misty Mountain, Yellow Eye sucked back in season 2, so that them doing bad there was also consistent. But Red Eye did great in the gliding raceway. I forgot the name of the track. I'm sorry. I'm a fake fan.
Sleet Street.
But Sleet Street, yes. And then there's also and then they did good here again, which they did good last year too. So I think it's possible that at least when it comes to the Crazy Cat's Eyes, we just saw their worst tracks first, and now we're going into the stuff that they are good at again. The only thing that may be different is we get more new tracks, which I'm sure we will. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Chocolatiers one because they're new to the season. Might as well take advantage of it. But
Red Eye had ample, and even using that word is not enough. Ample! I'm watching it right now on the screen, and I'm seeing I can use the word ample already without even seeing the rest of this race. Opportunity to pass 3 rookies. Come on!
That part right there was so good. Oh, it's so good.
Ample opportunity. And nothing was done. Many, many times there was lines to take. Many, many times there was collisions to make, and he just didn't do it. Right? I mean, that's just not characteristic of Red Eye. A fighter, a real fighter out there on the track. I got to be honest. Red Eye is a fighter. Right? I mean, I'm not missing anything when I'm saying this. Even more than Yellow Eye, who Yellow Eye is more of it's either going to be there or it's not going to be there. If he's in the middle of the pack, there is no fighting up. But we've seen Red Eye fight from mid-pack. Do some amazing things. Right? I didn't even notice that at first. So Red Eye, really? Beyond 3 rookies, Chocolatiers of all teams, just fell completely flat. I don't know what that was. But
again, we know, but the Chocolatiers have never raced an M1 before. We don't know their potential and skill with this. They've probably been, who knows, they've been practicing for this for quite a while.
Which I guess is always the argument that puts it down. But we're talking Red Eye here. We're talking by far the best racer ever in Marbula 1. Those stats from Season 2 will hold for a while. And there's enough racing events in Marble League to really point out that the Chocolatiers aren't the best at it. Very, very odd to me that Red Eye couldn't make that. I mean, look at how many laps. They're all right next to each other. Truthfully odd.
If I'm not mistaken, I remember hearing somewhere that Mocha has done good in sand races in ML. So it is possible that they just had the home field, or not the
Bon was racing, not Mocha.
The experience.
So
and we analyzed the Crazy Cat's Eyes last year heavily because they're so easy to identify. We found out that Red Eye is the good track racer. Yellow Eye is kind of good too, but not as good. Blue Eye is the elemental racer. Green Eye is the all-rounder.
We did actually go through this. That's true. I guess. But I mean, this is a long track. Most of the time was not spent on sand. And
Bon has the sand performances.
I don't know, man. I just.
Oh, but Bon raced this race. It was this race. So Bon, who has
won.
experience with sand, raced in the sand race and did good. correlation.
I guess Red Eye finishes second here, right? I'm pretty sure. So yeah, Red Eye finishes second. But I guess my point is like there were so many laps where Red Eye was just caught by Shimmer, caught by the Cobalts, and didn't have any space to get to Bonbon. I mean, that's just odd to me. I mean, good thing he finished second, because if he finished any lower than second, then really be upset with Red Eye's performance. But I mean, really, truly odd. And also, look at Speedy, not even able to get into that top 4 battle, just really got pulled back by the likes of Bumble. I mean, they're very odd from marbles who were very down. I mean, let's go to it. Let's talk about it. Let's just go to JMR Wiki. Let's look at how dominant those two very singular specific marbles were in all of Marbula 1. Because, I mean, it's very uncharacteristic, is what I'm saying.
I'd like to erase away from season 2 first.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna start with. I mean, come on. I mean, most medals, top 2, 3 golds for Red Eye, 2 golds for Speedy, 2 and 2 silvers, both of them. Speedy also has an extra medal of bronze. Wonderful. I mean, and then beyond that, Clutter has a few, but like, then it kind of goes downhill. But let's talk about most points.
Oh. Yeah, Chad brought this up. I'll bring this up real quick. When I was watching this live, I heard, like, wait a minute, did they miss lap 8? And I was so scared. What ended up happening is, so the counter went lap 7, lap 9, lap 8, lap 10. So they had the same number of laps, but for some reason the numbering system was very off for a second. So they had a big error, but fortunately it was not as bad as it could have been.
I'm trying to find most points just overall. I mean, most wins overall. Red Eye up there,
right?
Of course,
Obviously.
with 3. Speedy, of course, right behind. Winning with large margin, of course, Red Eye in there. Twice Red Eye in there, by the way. Trying to find most just points overall, because I mean, we know who the top 2 is, but I want to see it. I want to see it with my eyes. Pole positions. Who has most pole positions? Savage Speeder. Speedy, of course. Savage Speeder has the most pole positions with 2, tied with a bunch of other marbles.
Only 2? Really? Wow. I'm actually surprised by that.
Yeah, it's very low still. Front row start, Speedy. I mean, it's still there. Largest gain. I'm trying to find overall point. Do we not have... Is that not in this particular...
Oh, I'm sure it's there.
This is just records. I want... individual performances. I was on like a whole separate page. Individual performances. Yeah. All right, well, there you have it, right there. Red Eye is in first place overall, and Speedy's in second for medals. I want points. Here's points. Speedy is in first overall with 156 total Marbula 1 points ever. Red Eye right behind with 147. Then you drop 10 to Starry, and we don't even see most of the other marbles that we're discussing right now, even in the top 40. So I'm just pointing it out there that these 2 marbles are consistently way better than every marbles. Okay?
And like the other point in Brim is like Red Eye has 1 less season to get for that total,
which is just bananas. It's so stupid. It's stupid, right?
It's so ridiculous.
105 in season 2, and he couldn't get past the Chocolatiers.
Well, go to a raceway. Like I think like from season 2, I think Red Eye got second there as well. But I want to know how Speedy did if Speedy was there.
Yeah, Speedy. No, it might have been a freaking Rapidly race, which just sucked. I
mean, Rapidly and Speedy are doing pretty consistently the same right now. It seems.
Where's
so
the
it's not like
raceway? I'm trying to find the raceway. They're always hard. It's always navigating the wiki can be tough.
It can be.
A raceway. One of these times, let's just scroll through the wiki and react to things that we didn't know. A raceway. Here we go. A raceway. Season 1, season 2. The race winner was Nemo in that. How about that?
Yeah, season 2.
I'm trying to find stats.
Yeah,
I
you click on the link.
Season 2.
Yeah, you
season
click on
2
the
a raceway.
link.
No, I clicked on article. Oh, main article. Okay.
Yeah.
So Red Eye got 7th in that.
Mm-hmm.
And Rapidly got 10th.
Got 7th.
We don't get to see any Speedy. No. That was in that's in qualifying. Sorry. Oops.
Okay.
So final grid positions, Red Eye got 4th. So should have been, I guess fair enough. But then again, Red Eye got 4th to Midnight with Green Ducks and Team Galactic, not Bon and Shimmer.
Rapidly raced?
Yeah, down in 10th.
Down in 10th. Okay.
Yeah, but we didn't get any Speedy in there. I don't know. I just think, like, it's very odd to see the lack of domination or even attempt at domination from either Red Eye or Speedy or the teams in general, from teams who, I mean, truthfully, points-wise, really, really stole Season 1 and 2. I mean, the only thing I can gather from that is that we have to be patient with Marbula 1 even longer and be open to new teams like the Chocolatiers maybe being good, right? And so give that the time, more seasons to really build more lore and stuff, because there might be, like, I feel like there'll always be looks from Red Eye in the top, but it may not be the only one.
Yeah. I mean, this was Speedy's first time at this track, so like this one point out, like rapidly raced both our raceways. So this is literally Speedy's first time on the track, and so this is something we didn't mention. Like, people felt like the qualifiers was a lot slower this time around, and I'm pretty sure it's because this version of the track is the longest it's ever been. Like, so the qualifiers were so long because I think this is it's the longest the race was been. I think it might be the longest track they've ever had.
Yeah, and it was kind of, the qualifiers were boring, man. They were just slow. Marbles were getting caught up in the sand swirls. The sand swirls were like a bad version of the winter swirls from Sleet Street, the chicanes, I guess. It was a tough track to watch. A lot of inside lines into hairpins, so they was getting knocked around, speed loss. That very gentle turn, as Greg Woods mentioned it, that elbow before the finish line, there was a very specific way you had to hit that, and that was by not hitting the inside elbow part at all and just staying the outside. Most marbles couldn't do that, so it was a lot of speed loss there. Right before the end, too, where at the very least, a marble sports staple... No, not staple is really the word. Marble sports, good marble sports etiquette. I don't know if etiquette's a word. Just good ideas for marble sports. Have a fast finish, okay? I'm just trying to say the words, okay? Have a fast finish. Have marbles really kind of run right into the elevator there at the end. So when you kind of take all the speed away, because you have that gentle elbow just kind of knocking marbles around, it's really killed a lot of the qualifiers and a lot of marbles just kind of lazily coming across the finish line. So not my favorite qualifiers. And I guess that's why this race, it was just very, like, I don't know, a lot of rookies just got out there in front.
Oh yeah, I guess we haven't rated it yet. In terms of aesthetic, like, I like
oh yeah, let's do the rating out of 10. That's hopefully we're transitioning right there. Rating out of 10. Go ahead.
They added those giant orange statues, which is cool, and it kind of in all this, it makes it feel more like old Ranger Land and stuff. And the sand track did feel like it affected the race more because it zigzagged instead of just being a big straight. So I love that. I did love that that side by side, but I'm also not feeling as much. Part of it's because I'm really tired right now. So in case you can tell, my energy level is way down right now. I'm not as energetic. I'm not feeling things right now as much as I normally do. Maybe. It was more engaging than all the past races. I remember my live watch party, like, I had the most fun watching this, I would say, because of that 4-way battle for the top. Even though looking at the chart, yeah, each lap finished relatively the same in terms of first and second, it didn't feel like that as the race was happening. And that's what was so different about this race compared to every other race this season, is that it felt like at any given moment the lead could be completely different, and that is so different from the rest of this season so far. So 7 out of 10.
Fair. I think it's a solid track, right? I mean, there's no getting around that. This is the O Raceway. You're gonna have a bunch of fun turns. You're going to have the sand section, which is creative. I mean, truthfully, that sand section looks like it takes a long time to set up, and it's a pain, and it's just awesome that they do that. I really do appreciate that. Do I wish they had more sand, Muller Corner? I mean, yeah. I mean, I think, again, I always lean RML when it comes to the right amount of features and well-placed features. Which is true, by the way, too. Well-placed features are important. I mean, there's a lot of things sometimes JMR places that, if placed in a different part of the track, could have very different results. But I will say aesthetically it was nice. A lot more orange there on the track. You have some orange like legs there underneath some of the
blocks. Yeah,
the blocks. You have the orange marbles. You're going nuts out there. I don't know. I just like little things would be nicer. Like maybe instead of the red things on the marble drum tracks, like orange little clips or whatever. But anyway,
sure, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, like small things, right? Which, like, if I see those small things, that doesn't knock it up a full point, but that's like, oh, cool, right? Because you know that they're really going the extra mile. That being said, the course was fun. It was just a little slow, man. It was a little slow. Like, the choice of features was just a little bit misaligned with the ones before them. So I give it a 7 out of 10 too. I think that's fair.
People are mentioning the split from season 1. I don't even remember season 1. Like if the case was like I just don't have as much time to engross in Marble lore all the time, so I've forgotten a lot about the earlier races. I don't remember what the split was in season 1.
I don't know either. I think you said something like No, that was how many laps it was. I don't remember how fast it was.
Like, was there a split in the sand
36?
section?
36 was the total lap time from season 1. Didn't Greg say that? I forget. Don't have to know. I mean, like, those are things wonderful if we know, but underrated marble at a raceway Bumble? No? Yes? Let's see where Bumble started. Here, this is how I'm going to judge if Marble's underrated. 3 things you look for if Marble's underrated. Where do they start? Where were they after lap 1? Where did they finish? Let's see. Okay, Bumble. I'm going to address that right now. You can call Marble underrated, but I'm going to fact check that. So let's go here. Where did Bumble start? Bumble started in 2nd. Wow. I think that's how it was listed here, right? Unless that was just that might be just the rankings. Oh, starting grid. No, Bumble started in 20th. Okay. Started in 20th. Where was Bumble after lap Wait a second, Wolf. Where was Bumble after lap 1? Bumble started in 20th. And let's see where Bumble was. Is that Bumble? Yeah, it's 20th. Bumble after lap 1. Let's try to take a look here. As lap 1 is ending, Bumble is in 11th. Where was Bumble like mid-lap 1? 13th. Where was Bumble like early lap 1? 12th, which means it was just a very good, lucky start out of the starting gate. Where was Bumble even earlier on, right as we got going here? And just as the scoreboard pops up, boom, already 12th place. So right out into lap 1, he gets lucky. He's in 12th. Okay? At the end of lap 1, this Marble's in 13th.
Shit, Brendan, you could use a chart to save time, right? You know that, right?
What do you mean the chart?
The lap chart.
I'm using it. I'm just going to different places in the lap. That's what I'm doing to really get a sense here. Because someone's talking about this Marble seemed underrated in the race. So I'm like, all right, let's fact check this. So at the end of lap 1, we're Bumble's in 13th. Let's go. Now we go to like a midpoint of the race. So Bumble by the midpoint had worked up to 7th. And what did Bumble end in said race? Let's see. Sorry. Race winner, and Bumble ended in 7th. So basically went from 13th, 12th to 7th. 5-place jump for the mid pack. I don't know if I'd call that underrated.
Brendan, they started in 20th.
Right, but before, were you listening to me? You're on the show. Before the names even came up for the lap set, Bumble was already in 12th.
Technically, sure, but they started at the back from
right.
From
no,
the
but
seating.
Like you always have to be careful because right out. Oh, this is gonna be an argument. Right, I can just tell. Right out of the gate, there is a stratification of marbles that leans a lot luck based because marbles just bouncing around. All right. And so right as the lap stuff comes out, right 2 turns into the race, Bumble's already in 12th from that initial stratification. So really went from 13th to 7th. A mid-pack jump. Do I call this Marble underrated in this race? When we had Red Eye and Bon Bon winning for the first time ever? I don't know. You have to be careful to just look at the displacement from 0 to 13. I really look at displacement from 1 to 13 to get a good sense of what the racing was like, because out of the starting gate, there's a lot of luck involved.
I don't know, man. Okay, I figured out what the straight was that people are talking about. I think they're talking about the pit lane from season 1. The reason why that's gone is because it did nothing. It's a useless track item.
We got angry at said pit lane many times. It was very stupid.
Yeah, that wasn't the straight people. That was them trying to implement F1 elements for lap racing. Oh, they gotta go into the pit lane to polish up and get faster, even though it did literally nothing except make things worse.
Unless it really made marbles faster. I don't know. I guess fair enough. You can call Bumble underrated because Bumble got lucky out of the starting gate and then had a mediocre race afterwards. But I mean, again, I'm very picky when I call him all underrated. Wonderful that he got lucky through the starting gate. But let's be careful. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. I guess a 5-6 place jump, whatever. Still a decent race for Bumble. 7th is not bad for a team that no one really pays attention to. That being said, I think that's going to do it. We have a bunch of emails. We have one email from someone who's new. Leafy is here, writes in and says, dab on them haters. That's all we had.
Brennan, I don't think that's new. I think this person has emailed us months ago. Like,
Maybe
they
once,
randomly show up every now and again.
But otherwise, the other 3 emails are from the regulars, and they're long emails. So I'm going to save them to start at the top of the episode with them next week. MSWpodcast@gmail.com if you want to get involved in that initial mailbag next week.
Oh, yeah, it was Alex's alt. Yeah, that's Alex's alt account.
Okay, yeah. So we'll hit those emails next week. These 3 people who emailed in listen every week anyway, so you guys can catch it next week. 2 of them? Yeah, 2 of them are in the live chat. So they're hearing this right now. So anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. I mean, I don't know.
Wait. Oh, shoot. Yeah, it is kind of late, isn't it?
We're at an hour. If you have anything else you want to say, I definitely had some... Man, like, I always try to take a direction, right? I always try to take a direction at the end when we're all said and done with the episode and be like, all right, I feel like this is going like this, or this is not going like this and it's going down. But I don't feel that here. I don't feel anything right now. Let's look at the top standings, at least end there. If I can pull anything really exciting out of that, because I'm having trouble. Because we're kind of in this weird purgatory of circuit racing right now, where we don't have a team standing out, and we don't have any of the teams we expect to stand out standing out. Green Ducks, 19th. Mellow Yellow, 18th. Savage Speeders, 10th.
I mean, the Balls of Chaos have been very, like looking at the top, the Balls of Chaos and the Rangers have been very consistent.
I'm going to ask you a question right now, Mr. Wild. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to expect you to answer my question.
Okay.
As I ask it. That's what's going to happen right now. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if I said to you, okay, Mr. Waff, right? So I'm gonna ask you to give a prediction for what the top 3 would look like after 4 races of Marbula 1 Season 3. Are these the 3 teams you put at the top 3, sir?
No.
What teams would you have put at the top 3?
The Cat's Eyes, the Speeders, and probably the Hazers.
Fair.
I'd probably say Hazers.
I would have definitely put the Cat's Eyes up there, so I guess they are in top 3, so I can't complain. But I would definitely put the Speeders at number 3. And I think I would have put a team leaning more towards Mellow Yellow, or Green Ducks, or Hazers, or even Midnight Wisps within that area there in the top 3. I mean, teams that really scream speed. Not to knock the O'Rangers again, but I would have put them more within the top 10. Only 4 races in. Usually 4 races in, we see the shiners from the previous season shine once again. And who was the top 2 from the previous season? Okay, who just came off a victory at Marble League? I know they're very different, but there's a mojo thing. Okay, who are our fast marbles? Wisps, Hazers, Green Ducks. Those are fast marbles. We know they're proven to be fast marbles because we've seen them be fast like many times in many different types of events. So very odd. And now we get the Balls of Chaos and the O'Rangers fighting for the top 2 spots with only 1 win to their name each. And then everybody else between 3rd place and 7th place is zeros in the win column. I'm just putting it out there. Zeros in the win column.
I mean, to maybe somewhat being the Balls of Chaos's camp here, they have the most motivation to do as well as they do right now because of how bad they've been doing recently.
Mm-hmm.
So to a certain degree, it kind of makes sense that they would be up there because they easily have the most motivation, I would say, out of everyone else in this pack to really take home the gold.
I'll concede that.
Hey.
I'll concede that because I feel like they're always present in in Marbula 1 seasons. I don't know where they finished overall in the previous ones. I'd have to go look it up. Let's see. Let's get season 2. But I always feel like they're present. They always have their couple of moments where they have their win or two.
And Team Maniacs in 4th. We can't forget about that.
I hate them. Don't talk about them. Balls of Chaos, but they're always a mid-pack finish in Marbula 1 usually. They're 11th in season 2. I'm pretty sure season 1 wasn't amazing for them either, if you want to look at this. I will look at, 9th. So, which is why, even though I think the Balls of Chaos, and slowly but surely, especially if you look at their Marbula League work over the last few years, they're trying to become more established. They're trying to come out of the group that's mid-pack and like, oh, look, the Balls of Chaos, maybe they'll win the high jump, and become more of a team that people are like, Balls of Chaos, man, they're going to come out there strong. But because of their previous finishes, I wouldn't have guessed them top 3 after the first 4 races.
Mm-hmm.
I would not have guessed them top 5 after the first 4 races.
You know what? Another point to the Balls of Chaos. Their consistent poor performance is very unchaotic of them, but they're correcting it by making the in-between 2 competitions super chaotic, because by being really bad in one and extremely good in the other, that is chaotic and not consistent in the slightest.
Well, that's just kind of how they roll, though, but unfortunately that chaos kind of always balances out to a mid-pack, right? And we've seen this.
Sure, that's true, normally, but this feels different.
It does feel different. Same with the O-Rangers. But again, I just, like, when you have Chocolatiers and Shimmer and Cobalt still all up there, race 4, we're seeing those odd marbles leading, and again, it's not just a moment where, like, because, like, in a lot of other times in other seasons, we will see moments where we'll be like, oh, look at that, Cobalt's had a few laps in the lead there. Wonderful. Wonderful. Isn't that nice? Isn't that good for them? What, right? We say that, and we get to enjoy that for a moment.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it comes off. We're like, oh my god, did you see that the Pinkies, they were in the podium spot for like laps 8 to 7? I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like 8 and 7 don't even work together. Right. But we usually have that, but rarely do we see like Chocolatiers dominating the field for a whole race. Shimmer and Cobalt's battling in the top 3 for a whole race. That's rare, and that's why it's throwing this confusion into this pot, because it's like, well, where are Balls of Chaos and O-Rangers really your shining stars in this season, or are they just the marbles who happened to have finished towards the top a bunch? Because remember, we only have 1 win per team. There's no 2-win teams at all.
Yet.
In fact, the most consistent... let's go back to 3. I believe the most consistent... No, I can see this in the video. The most consistent has been Crazy Cat's Eyes with 2 second-place wins. That is the most consistent performance so far. 2 silvers for the Crazy Cat's Eyes. Balls of Chaos had a first and a silver, so that's pretty consistent as well. Okay? But other than that, like, all the teams at the top aren't really very consistent. Mini Maniacs had a silver. O-Rangers had their random gold, and then, there's a lot of zeros. So... I'm just saying, the ones are scattered. The bronzes are all the way down in mid-pack. There's a couple first-place teams down in mid-pack as well, 8-9 Hazers, Chocolatiers. I'm just saying there's no emerging team. It's pretty close, and it's not like Marbula 1 of the past 2 seasons. Live chat person says he hates the Cobalts. That's, Hey, listen, I hate the Mini Maniacs and don't have a lot of basis for that, so fair enough. Anyway, we should probably wrap this one up.
Yeah, do we really not want to cover any of the emails? Because one of them is about something that's going to happen soon.
We're gonna probably roll them the next week and just cover them then, because I want to make sure.
We will be doing an episode probably on Monday if we can keep a schedule.
We're gonna try to do this. We're gonna try to do one on Monday or Sunday even. We'll see about times, because I'm kind of freer this weekend than lately. But we'll get one out there right after the next race comes out, hopefully, for y'all. I don't know when this episode will come out, but hopefully quick. But, anyway, take us out. And we had a bunch of live people this time. It was like up, it was a bunch of y'all watching, so I appreciate that. Do the thing.
Yeah, all right. Roll on, Marvel Sports fans.